Now to a new report which breaks down the levels of child poverty in parliamentary constituencies across the UK. Scotland only has one constituency in the list of the worst 20 put together by the End Child Poverty Coalition. It's Glasgow Central. Just over 45% of children there are estimated to be living in poverty. At the other end of the spectrum, West Aberdeenshire and Kincardine has one of the lowest estimated rates of child poverty in the UK at just over 9%. I'm joined by Alison Thewliss, the SNP MP for the Glasgow Central constituency, and by Andrew Bowie, the Conservative MP for West Aberdeenshire and Kincardine. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Andrew Bowie, the other 19 constituencies happen to be in England, those with the worst rates of child poverty. It doesn't seem to say a lot for the UK government's policy on this, does it?
Look, I mean, any child living in one child living in poverty is too much as far as I'm concerned. And whilst the figure for West Aberdeenshire and Kincardine being 9% is obviously a very good figure, it's still far too many, I believe, to be acceptable. So what is clear from the figures is that ourselves and the UK government, working with devolved governments, including the Scottish Government and charities, must do much more to eradicate this blight of child poverty, which unfortunately does seem to be a growing crisis in many parts of the country.
And the Institute of Fiscal Studies, in a report, seem to believe that the changes to the benefits system is producing a growth in child poverty.
Well, I would disagree slightly with what the IFS found. I mean, we believe that the best way to eradicate poverty is to build a growing, strong economy with strong and secure jobs. And it should be recognised that the number of children living in workless households actually fallen by 41,000 in only 1 year.
Yeah, but many people in poverty now also work. That's the change that we've seen in recent decades.
Absolutely. And what we need to do as a government is work hard with business and with charities and with our devolved partners in Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland to create jobs that are strong and secure and can provide proper wages, full wages for individuals, so we can lift these children out of poverty and end this blight, which is a problem in many parts of the country.
Well, Alison Thewliss, the last report by this coalition in 2015 suggested that Glasgow Central's child poverty rate was 39%. Now it's 45%. Why would that be here in Scotland?
Well, this is a direct result of Tory austerity and policies like the benefit freeze and the benefit cap. And in Glasgow, 636 households currently have the benefit cap applied, and that affects 1,936 children in Glasgow. So that will obviously have an impact on incomes in those households, and it will make it far, far more difficult for those families to make ends meet.
And do you believe that's preventing the Scottish Government from having an impact in this area with its policies, because it has made this a priority?
Well, we've done an awful lot in terms of mitigating some of the poverty issues. So we've spent £58 million mitigating the bedroom tax, for example. But things like the benefit cap and the benefit freeze coming from Westminster, we are always going to be limited by how much we can do there, and we would always want to do more. And we've certainly got ambitions with the Tackling Child Poverty Fund, with the new Best Start grant for families. But this comes at the context of deliberate Tory policies that want to cut benefits, restrict benefits, and that's going to push children into poverty. And the two-child cap on child tax credits will push an extra 200,000 children into poverty by 2020, and they know this.
And Andrew Bowie, I mean, do you expect to see an increase on the number of children in Scotland living in poverty for the reasons that Alison Thewliss has outlined?
I'm not going to speculate on what might happen due to changes in the benefits policy. What I know is that we are working hard to create an economy that works for everyone and create strong and stable jobs that people can earn a decent wage in, and therefore hopefully eradicate this blight of child poverty. And that's why we, working with our partners, actually support the Scottish Child Poverty Bill, which is going through the Scottish Parliament just now. That bill in itself, however, won't actually radically reduce child poverty, but taking other steps that we hope we can.
And Alison Thewliss, what do you make of the government's Child Poverty Scotland bill and its targets? Do you think it will achieve those targets?
I would hope so, and certainly the big issue for me is that some of the figures, and these figures today indicate that some of the figures are now hard to come by since the UK government abolished targets to eradicate child poverty. The Scottish government has at least reinstated those and said this is where we need to be going, this is what we need to work on. Because at the moment, there are lots of people that are not counted in these figures, and that includes families in my constituency with insecure immigration status who the Home Office have made destitute. And as you mentioned, the working poor as well. So I have a family come to my surgery before Christmas, and the mother was working. She was working very hard, but she had to come to us for money for Christmas presents from a charity because she didn't have enough money coming into her household that she could buy Christmas presents for her children. And that's a damning indictment in this Tory government of what they're putting people through.
Andrew Bowie, what would you say to that?
Well, I would certainly counter the argument that the Home Office is deliberately making people destitute. However, it's very clear that more action must be taken. We genuinely have a problem in many parts of the country with child poverty, and as I said, the UK government is committed to working with charities, with our partners, and with the devolved nations across the UK to reduce child poverty, and we hope we can do that.
Well, thank you both very much for speaking to us this morning. Andrew Bowie, the Conservative MP for West Aberdeenshire and Kincardine, and Alison Thewliss, the SNP MP for the Glasgow Central constituency. 21 minutes past 8.